Maya is a person who really makes you think and grow, because not only do you reflect personally about how this program will help you in your personal life and in your personal relationships, but it also kind of reframes how you think of yourself in your professional world, your relationships.
I guess I've enjoyed working with her in the program because she's easily approachable.
Okay.
And one of the stories I remember when we got introduced is she said she was always up for grabbing a bite in the city. So I asked her if she wanted to get lunch, and instead of just saying yes, she pulled out her calendar to plan a date. So I've always really enjoyed if she puts something out and it's not just for show, she's going to follow up on it.
Hello, and welcome to Baruch College Alumni Association Alumni Spotlight. This is our guest here, Maya Gutierrez. I'm your host, Josiah Butler.
Hi, Josiah.
How are you?
Good.
Very nice to have you here today.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
I've heard so many great things about you and your career and whatnot.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
So I'm going to start with this question here. What was your major at Baruch, and what year did you graduate?
So I got my master's in public administration at Baruch, and I graduated in 2000.
Okay. And what is your current profession now?
Right now I work for Coro New York Leadership Center, which is the city's premier leadership training program. We provide the skills, knowledge, and network to lead change for New York. We have 7 programs, so we start with high school students and up to mid-career professionals, including an immigrant civic leadership program, and also the neighborhood leadership program, which is supporting folks who are doing commercial revitalization in places across the city. I run Leadership New York, which is 52 participants, part-time, and the theme is tri-sector. So we get government, private, and nonprofit into the same room because we think it's going to take all 3 sectors to be able to make the change that we need to do for New York.
So could you also briefly describe your current profession, in detail, your responsibilities, certain duties that you do?
Oh, sure. So any given year, I probably give about a little over 30 experiential. We're big on experiential learning and inquiry focus trainings, both for Leadership New York, all of the adult programs, and then also for alumni. 'Cause my title is Senior Director of Leadership New York and Alumni Training. I also write a blog called Practicoro, where I connect folks to civic engagement opportunities across the city, like being part of your community board, and then also ways to incorporate our curriculum into daily practice.
Okay. So also, could you, like you said, in your this is what you're doing was very it helps kids in their transformation and their transition on into life. Could you briefly describe your career path and how was your degree taking you professionally there?
I would say since graduating from Baruch, I've worked in a variety of institutional settings, but the continuing thread has been supporting adult personal and professional development. So I worked at the Ford Foundation, training administrative staff to understanding how to do grant making. I offered life and personal coaching, and now at Coro working in a programmatic setting for really understanding your purpose and overcoming any obstacles that are getting in the way of doing it.
Yeah, how did your experiences at Baruch College personally, how did that help you with your career?
It helped me a lot. Going to Baruch was a real game changer for me. Being in the National Urban Fellows Program, I also had a 9-month mentorship site. So I had experiential learning while I was taking classes. And it was really the first time that I was challenged in my time management, in presenting myself professionally, and in building up the networks that really I still use to this day. It really was able to give me the kind of access and opportunity to networks that I wouldn't have had otherwise.
So yeah, good to have that network around you to really get things.
Absolutely.
So what job resources like influence your career choice like
My
along the way?
influences? Yeah, so right out of college, I was in AmeriCorps. So sometimes they call that the domestic Peace Corps, but I worked at the state and the national levels, and it provided me the opportunity to do a scan of the landscape of the nonprofit and the government sectors to sort of see a variety of organizations that had a variety of effectiveness, I would say, at taking on some of our deeply systemic issues, and really encouraged me as the thing that made me decide to go for an MPA.
Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, I could see how that would be something that would really be good to like give you that background or familiarity with what you're doing today. That's interesting. So lastly, today, like what advice would you give to any undergraduate or graduate student at Baruch who wants to study like in your particular field?
Oh, sure. So I would say something that I've learned from working at Coro is that it's really important, whatever sector that you're in, to work to find ways to build your network so that it's multi-sector. So if you're working in finance, go out and make some connections with folks in nonprofit, because you're not going to be able to be innovative in your finance field unless you understand the context of what you're working in. So I would say that like build out across sectors for your networks. And the second thing I would say is to really be clear on your purpose. You know, it could change over time, but know what it is that you want to do, and then go find the organizations that do that and the organizational fit that would work for you, rather than trying to do it the other way around.
Have to do that, and thank you for that. And
You're welcome.
so how can we get in contact with you? Anybody who's out there?
Sure. I welcome that. I'd be happy to help anybody if they're trying to figure out their career paths. And LinkedIn is probably the best way to find me. Maya Gutierrez.
Maya Gutierrez at LinkedIn.
Yeah.